And there was a lot of people from the East Coast, the Midwest, like Ohio, and then the East Coast. You know what their complaint was? This Super Bowl didn't feel like the real Super Bowl because you could tell that there was still sunlight. That it wasn't dark. The Super Bowl doesn't feel like the Super Bowl unless it's dark outside. Like, bitch, you motherfuckers are just jealous that it's fucking...
Because it's finally in the West Coast.
It's 6 p.m. and we got hella sunlight. The
Super Bowl
75 and fucking sunny.
It always starts at the same time every year. It's like 3:30. It just so happens to be on the East Coast sometimes, but now that it's on the West Coast, fuck you, East Coast.
They're always trying to shoot like little shots like, oh, it didn't feel real because the sun. I could tell the sunlight was still out.
They were just hating because they didn't have fucking Pop Smoke hologram and shit.
Fuck out of here. Oh, speaking of hip hop and shit, let's talk about the halftime performance. Give me a rating 1 to 10. What do you think about the halftime show?
10, 11.
Explain why.
That shit was just lit as fuck. I don't know. It was just from the very start, when fucking Dre pops up with that little mixing board and shit. That big ass dope mixing board. The biggest one in the game, you mean? Yeah, the biggest one of all time. That fucking probably 90% of the knobs didn't even work, and he was just out there looking like that. I thought it was cool. You got a bunch of these fucking haters and old people and racists saying that Super Bowl halftime show sucked. I love Mary J. Blige. That was so random. I get it. In these days, you got to have a woman in the thing. You got to have that. She was cool. But out of all the songs she has, whatever second song she did, why she do that? It kind of slowed it down a little bit. And I feel like she kind of like killed the vibe. But she was still dope. And I still fuck with Mary J. Blige. But it was dope. And when Eminem was going up the whole time, I was just, Detroit, what? Detroit. But I thought that shit was sick. Kendrick Lamar, that bullshit about trying to say fucking, when they're trying to censor him, saying he couldn't say if Pyrus and Crips all got along, saying that he couldn't say and we hate popos, and like, it's just fucking, that part was stupid. But other than that, like, I had a great time. After the halftime show ended, I was just kind of like, fuck, now we gotta watch football? Like, I want 50 more minutes. I want another hour of this shit.
Facts.
I was hype as fuck in my house watching that shit.
To me, it was kind of dope because, one of the first things they show is like the stage, right? And I had recently just gone to the Compton courthouse for a speeding ticket. Mm-hmm. And outside the Compton courthouse, they have these like, obviously the building and that thing where that statue where all these things go up. So I'm like, damn, I was just there, And then they show Tam's Burgers number 15. And then everyone's like, it's straight West Coasting and everything. I thought it was fucking dope. It felt like an unreal moment for me. Someone from the West Coast, from LA, from like being a neighboring city to Compton, and growing up listening to all these guys, especially Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, like they're embedded in my family culture as far as like all my aunts and uncles, they all listen to them. I thought it was super dope. But even though it was cool to have 50 Cent from the East Coast and Eminem from the Midwest and Mary J. Blige from the East Coast, and the reason why they're all entangled in this performance is because they were all at one point in time either produced or signed by Dr. Dre in Aftermath, right? Yeah. That's the whole thing, the Aftermath.
Yeah, it was
That's
all
the
just
connection.
Dre proteges. And the Anderson .Paak on the drums.
That was tight.
That was sick as fuck.
That was tight.
That was pretty sick. I fuck with
But the biggest thing that pissed me off or turned me off was that the game wasn't invited or didn't even perform at least one song, one verse, one hook. If the game and 50 Cent would have came out to like Hate It or Love It, or like rich niggas, blood niggas, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, like that song, fucking, I forgot what it's called, How We Do, I think. Bro, the game should have been there. And that, honestly, me being one of the biggest game fans and like from 10 years old to like 15 years old with the whole G-Unit mixtapes and the whole, it was, at one point in time back in the day, as far as West Coast artists, it was only Gorilla Black and The Game. Yeah. Making noise out here.
Gorilla Black's from the West Coast?
He's from Compton.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I didn't know that. I also haven't heard that song in a long ass time. So to say it was only Gorilla Black and Game holding it down, I was like, I swear to God, bro. I didn't even know Gorilla Black is from the West Coast.
Yeah, bro. Shout out to Gorilla Black. He came out first, and then The Game had so much anticipation with the source, and like they were like building him up, and then he finally dropped the documentary, and it was fucking fire. Bro, I'm pissed off, honestly. I was happy with the Super Bowl performance and everything, but man, it would have took it to a whole nother level. Because right now at this point, people are saying that this is one of the best halftime performances ever, other than like Michael Jackson or Prince.
Beyonce was dope too, yeah.
Or Beyonce, but I think it would have really took it over the top if The Game was there, bro.
But if you have to choose between The Game or 50 Cent, you're gonna choose 50 Cent.
I'm not.
You're not, because you're from the West Coast. But if you're it's a Super Bowl, so it's a worldwide thing. Him hanging upside down and like the In the Club thing. you're gonna go with 50 Cent over any song the Game does. Like, as a West Coast person, I get it. You want to fuck with the Game, but 50 Cent and the Game don't really fuck with each other. So if you're gonna have to pick and choose, you're gonna go with 50 Cent.
I was watching the No Jumper podcast. Shout out to the No Jumper podcast, and I was watching AD on there, and he said that he's been in the club recently when the Game and 50 Cent have been in there together, shaking hands, having a good time. As far as like keeping it cordial with each other inside the club with no cameras on, you feel me, like just doing their thing. And then he said like there's no reason why the Game should not be on the shit, but I think that was an executive decision,
100%,
that came down from like Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. Because even the Game, I watched interviews about him when they talk about the situation. He goes, I was young, I was dumb. When he got into hip hop, he was really like gang banging and trying to kill and shoot people. When it's just industry shit, like shouldn't be getting into that.
100%.
And then the Game single handedly took down Junior Records, Junior Clothing, Junior Shoes. Like he took down the whole. He took down 50 Cent. He burned so much of 50 Cent's money, and I'm sure 50 Cent holds a grudge, and he goes like, look, it's either me or him. I'm not performing with him anymore.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I would love to see. If there was ever like the Game and 50 Cent concert, I would go fucking buy tickets VIP. I'll be there.
Sell out. But also, if you're trying to reach to the worldwide audience and shit like that, especially at the Super Bowl, you're not trying to have any of that animosity or any of that like beef going on. But yeah, I can see why they would pick 50 over the Game, especially with that iconic him hanging upside down in the club, and then he came down now.